Well, hello everyone. My name is Tanya Burney, and I am the Dissemination and Implementation Officer for the MHARS Board of Lorain County. And I'd like to welcome everybody to our webinar today, Coping with the Holidays. I'm going to go ahead and get started and begin to share my screen with you guys so that you guys can get the PowerPoint. I'm so excited about the opportunity to present this material. I present this oftentimes for my patients and everybody that I work with. So I'm just excited that I'm here and I'm able to present this information and content for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me get it all together here. All right, coping with the holidays. I just let you know, I just became employed with the MHARS board about 2 months ago, but I'm not new to the field. I've been in the field for over 20 years. I'm actually work in private practice, and I see patients, and I specialize in working with families and individuals who suffer from substance use disorder and other mental health disorders. So I actually specialize in working with couples and families who are struggling with addiction and bipolar disorder and all of that kind of stuff. So this particular workshop is very important because, you know, usually around the holidays, things might not be so great for my patients, you know, just naturally. But right now we're working in conjunction with something that's unusual, and that's our pandemic. Coronavirus has really spread it throughout our community. It really has changed the game per se, as far as working with patients and their stress levels. So I wanted to talk about how coping with the holidays and COVID-19 really has impacted how we connect with each other, how we're living right now and everything, and our stress levels. I actually previously worked at a Department of Health. So COVID-19 really made an impact because it also impacted how we provided services. And then in turn, it impacted the patients that we were working with. So when you're just looking at the stress for the holidays, like I said, the holiday season is ideally, supposedly, the happiest time of the year. However, it can be most difficult. You know, not a lot of people have good memories of the holiday times, you know, and so it could be a time of doing too much, or eating too much, you're drinking too much, you're spending too much to try to make that perfect holiday. So just the normal stress of the holidays is impactful. Usually when I'm working with patients, I look at the holiday times to start around like Halloween and end really around, you know, I want to say Valentine's Day. So you're looking at different stressors that occur within those time periods. But when you put stress like that and COVID-19 together, ooh, it becomes a different type of mix. What I'm finding is that media has played a big factor in working with my patients. You know, they're watching the media, the news on what's going on, if the numbers are going up, if we're in red or purple. And so that's very important for us to limit our media exposure. You know, because a lot of times, you know, we can increase our symptoms if we've been told that if something is occurring, that it's a crisis happening, then our symptoms will, you know, jump. So be mindful of that to limit your media exposure. Also, what I'm finding is that what's happening too with my patients is that they're getting inaccurate information. And so it's very important that you're getting accurate information, accurate content. So I would suggest that you utilize the resources from the Ohio Department of Health in coordination with the Center for Disease Control, because that's where you're going to get your accurate information from, especially now during the holiday season. Also, recognize the signs of distress in your family and friends. You know, that includes worrying too much, you know, fear, you know, changes in sleep patterns, you know, difficulty concentrating, maybe isolation, you know, a little bit of fighting. And also, we don't want to forget about those somatic symptoms, those minor aches and pains that are happening in our body. Also, if you notice that your loved ones are feeling a little hopeless and thinking of hurting themselves or harming someone else, it's important to note that, you know, we want to reach out and provide that support to that person. Smoking and drinking or doing too much, just be kind of mindful if you see that, if you even notice it as patterns for yourself. You know, you want to be mindful of that. There are 10 keys for creating healthy holidays. Number one, don't have unrealistic expectations. You know, I think especially now with COVID, a lot of people want to get with their families, you know, the stay at home order, you know, making sure that you're safe. I don't want you to have that unrealistic expectation, you know, like I gotta be with my family. Think of other ways that you could connect, you know. Also, acknowledge and express your feelings honestly. You know, this is a hard time to not be able to have the connections with your family, you know, the stress, you know, maybe there's possibly job loss, you know, be honest and express your feelings, you know. If you tend to isolate, what you need to do is just to kind of keep yourself a little bit busier. You know, don't expect issues with others to disappear in your family. If you didn't get along with cousin Joe, you know, before the holiday and before COVID, you're not going to get along with cousin Joe with COVID in the holiday season. If you're struggling with loneliness or facing a loss of a loved one with whom you've shared the holidays with, you know, try to do what you can. I don't want you to try to isolate and just not be involved in the holiday. You know, you want to acknowledge the holiday and maybe do some things to remember them by. I know it's difficult, but you want to make sure that if you're struggling with that, that you reach out and get some help. Also, prepare for the extra intensity around the holiday. Um, there's a lot of intensity, rushing to get things done, going to the store, getting that meal prepared. You know, be prepared for that because that can be stressful. You might not meet your goals that you set. This is the biggest key that a lot of people don't do, and that's nurture yourself. You know, it's almost like give yourself a pat on the back. You know, provide self-compassion and self-care, especially if things don't go your way or things don't go as you plan. You know, don't beat yourself up. Reevaluate your holiday traditions. Are they too stressful and time consuming? Is making that duck and dumplings gonna really, you know, be too much for you when you can just maybe go get something else simpler at the grocery store? You don't have to fix it. Especially now with the fact that you go to the grocery store and might be not able to find a lot of things. Be aware if you overindulge, if you're eating too much, if you're drinking too much, if you're indulging in online activities, a little bit too much gaming, you know, be aware of that because that can affect your symptoms. Remind yourself of the true meaning of holidays that you celebrate. You know, the true meaning of, you know, being safe and together with your family and just loving your family. Remind yourself of those of the holiday times. Inexpensive ways to celebrate the holidays. You don't have to buy a whole lot of big gifts and stuff, you know. Just time together is a great, you know, activity, you know. Maybe reading poetry together, sharing fun holiday memories, baking cookies, sharing your family history with your children and your grandchildren with picture albums, or you know, passing on family customs or traditions, or basically just storytelling, telling, you know, stories that other people might not know that are historical in nature to pass down to the next generation. Record children singing to their grandparents and have grandparents record stories of the good old days for families to share. Have family members do some creative things, like for instance, having a paper bag where, you know, for example, a child might write, Dad, I really appreciate the fact that you took time with me, helping with my computer. What I'm going to do for you is give you some time to relax, you know. So also, this is one thing that me and my family are doing this holiday season. Since we can't be together, we're going to create a recipe book. And I told my cousins, I said, you know that ice cream recipe, Reginald, I want that ice cream recipe because I want to put it in my book of recipes. So it's just things that you remember that bring fond memories about when you're together. Putting them together in like a way of remembering them is still a way of connecting. Holding a cookie exchange with friends and families and neighbors, or giving a family heirloom as a gift to someone who would treasure it. But make sure you're ready to depart with that gift, you know, don't take it back. Prioritizing the me and Mary. Self-care strategies for the holiday season. A lot of times we don't take care of ourselves just in general, but a lot of times we don't take care of ourselves during the holiday season. So what I would like you to do is to schedule some self-care activities, increase your meditation, a hobby that you enjoy, begin to set up a routine or a timer to remind yourself to take care of yourself. Practice gratitude for people and events in your life, maybe do a grateful journal or do some mindfulness practice about feeling grateful. Engage in deep breathing. Breathing is like my core go-to strategy and technique. A lot of people don't realize that, when you're really, really anxious or really, really stressed, your breathing is impacted. So the best way to kind of do it is to practice your breathing techniques, practice using your breathing with self-soothing music, just to kind of relax. You can do other things such as progressive muscle relaxation. What you want to do is to bring your breathing at a way that is a normal rate and stuff. Also tune into your emotions. Be emotionally tuned to what's going on with you. Time out for yourself. Do a check-in on your feelings. What I find is that a lot of people know how they react, they know how to respond, they know what they think, but they don't know how they feel. So being able to get those feelings out, get a feeling wheel, and be able to write them down helps you when you're communicating with your loved ones and friends during this time of COVID. Try to understand why you might be experiencing negative emotions. For some people, negative emotions are, unrealistic expectations of goals that you've set for yourself, and you feel overwhelmed because you're not attaining them. So try to really, really define where those negative emotions are coming from. Monitor your stress levels. Write down a stress level in your journal at various times. Note if you're stressed or not. That's really key. Because if you're noting that you're stressed, you can immediately do an intervention. And right now, you don't really have any excuse. There's a lot of different tools that you can use just to monitor your stress levels. They have the smartwatches that measures your heart rate and your beating and everything like that. So we have a lot of tools right now to monitor our stress levels. So make sure that you use those types of techniques to be mindful of when your level is more stressed. Be present around the present. That's a keynote. Practice mindfulness and meditation. Just to spend a couple of minutes just to be present in your environment, to just check on using your 5 senses, the sense of smell, touch, sight, hearing, what's going on, to be, in the moment and be present. It's great to do some grounding techniques in that, just to kind of ground yourself in the moment and have an awareness of it. Take care of your physical health. This is so key. Adequate sleep, nutritious diet. We need to develop a plan where we don't overindulge. We like special foods and treats around the holidays, but we want to do our healthy eating in balance. So please attune to your physical health. And so to bring that all into fruition on what that really means for self-care, I like Dr. Ruth White. She is the author of Preventing Bipolar Relapse. I often use her techniques all the time, and I love her self-care method called SNAP, which is sleep, nutrition, activities, and people. And how I brought it into fruition with my clients, because I use it with all of my clients, not just my clients who have been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but just clients in general, to help bring down the stress levels. I'm actually doing this technique with some of my girlfriends, because we're actually monitoring each other for our SNAP self-care plan. So we actually are doing this. But you want to check the quality of your sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting to bed on time or early? Nutrition. Are you eating a balanced meal, making sure you're getting enough vitamin D? That is really, really attuned to seasonal affective disorder. Iron, are you getting enough iron? There are different types of brain foods that you can use that can increase your mood and reduce symptoms for you. So looking at your nutrition and making sure that you're eating well and not eating a lot of sugar too. Activities. Mostly I like to say, let's look at exercise, because, exercise is like the go-to activity to reduce your symptoms. But I also like to stress with my clients positive and meaning activities that you enjoy, that you do, that's going to require you to move and not stay in the house and be isolated. So what are your positive and meaningful activities that require movement? People. Avoid being around people that trigger you, that increase that negative sentiment override. You know those people. Make sure you monitor being around them. You want to be around people that care about you, that's going to promote you, people that you can be authentic with, that you can be your real self and not have that mask on. So remember SNAP. Again, sleep, nutrition, activities, and people. Here are some great self-care tips for the holidays for you. This actual list came from the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline website, and it's some great tools and techniques. If you want to play this webinar back and you want to go to it and be like, oh, Tanya picked this technique, or I'm going to try this technique today. There's no excuse. It's all here. One of the things that I'm going to do that I picked up from this is create a DIY self-care kit of the things that make me feel better. I was like, okay, I like that. I'm going to pull that in. So look at, is there something on this list that you can pull out and do different and add that to your plan for this holiday season? In the midst of COVID, we want to have a plan in place. We want to make sure that we're caring for ourselves. Well, best wishes to all of you guys for your holiday season. I want you to enjoy this time, celebrate with your family and friends, bring a successful mindset. A happy holiday season requires you being flexible, especially now with COVID, breaking out of those old patterns, but also taking care of yourself. So I wish you well. I hope you have a wonderful, happy holiday season. Here are the references that I have for the PowerPoint. They're here for you to look up and reference, and that's nothing new under the sun. But if you want to, you can go to this website. Also on our MHARS board website, we have a lot of great resources, under MHARS for the holidays. You could just go onto our website. And in case you're in need of assistance or support or help, please remember our non-emergency navigator line. Phone number at 1-440-240-7025. Our crisis hotline is 1-800-888-6161. Be safe this holiday season and take care. Thanks.